do is I have a segment in the afternoon during days that I stream where we sit and we talk about what's going on in the spaceflight industry. There's always new stuff going on, and especially with what like all the crazy stuff that Elon Musk is doing, and that's just a part of it, which is crazy. Uh, but yeah, we have the space news segment coming up, and then I have Kerbal Space Program after that. Basically, in Kerbal, I do exactly what we did with in Beam, but with spacecraft. So we got plenty more stream coming up, plenty more to do, much more content lined up today. So I will be right back. Just taking a quick break. It's probably about, I don't know, 8-9 hours of stream left. It's actually more like 6 or 7, but still, should be fun. So I'll see you guys on the other side of break. Thank you for watching if you're jetting out. But yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, just waiting on my pot of coffee, dudes, and then we'll go. Be back in a sec. Starting up momentarily. Alrighty. Okay, we're good to go here, so we start this sucker up. Alright, it's time for Space News. Okie dokie. Welcome, everybody. How are you all doing? That was got a good break there. Got a nice big pot of coffee here. Got some food. Chatted with a couple of people about stuff. How's everything? Everything good? Anything new happened in the last 15 minutes? I'm doing great. How are you? I'm good. All right, cool. So let's get into it. So the first bit of news that I got for you here. Let me just make sure that I have everything. Everything all kind of situated here. Cool. Nice, Maverick. There you go. Yeah, I got news from 5 minutes ago. All right, cool. Here's some news for you. You'll like this. Ready? This is coming from Oleg Novitsky. He's a cosmonaut up at the space station. Watch this. Got a little bit of a time lapse here. That launched on Antares. That's the Antares launch that we saw the other day. It docked up with the station this morning. So we got a time lapse, but also, well, there's kind of a Soyuz in the way. There's several Soyuz in the way. You know what? That's not tickling my fancy. Let's try this one. Let's try this one.
Good morning, this is Mission Control Houston bringing you live coverage of the birthing or installation of the 16th cargo resupply mission for Northrop Grumman's Cygnus spacecraft to the International Space Station.
I'm sorry. If the vlog gets uploaded to YouTube, it'll get muted. I have to put the...
Cygnus is currently in its birthing position and is ready for first and second stage.
You'd be surprised, Ando.
We're just waiting for ground controllers to initiate the next step that will push Cygnus into the common birthing mechanism.
Got it, Kim.
And we just had confirmation first stage of capture is complete, and that the Canada arm is now confirmed limp, which means it will not be imparting any forces on the vehicle as the next stage of capture are completed. The second stage will be driving of 16 bolts to secure Cygnus to the International Space Station. First stage capture is complete. The 4 latches are complete now. We are ready to drive those 16 bolts.
That was India. Gotcha.
And we now have confirmation all 16 bolts are now tightened and secured between Cygnus resupply craft and the Unity module.
Yeah, Fozzie, it's hot in here.
And second stage birthing is complete.
I gotta be careful today.
Cygnus is fully attached to International Space Station at
8:42
a.m. Central Time. As the International Space Station and Cygnus were flying 262 statute miles over the Arabian Sea.
Weather guys like storms? Really? Really? Where? That's cool. I'm sorry, that was funny. It's just... I want to try.
Good morning, this is Houston bringing
Sorry, that song, dude. That song always reminds me of Ace Ventura in the first Ace Ventura movie when he goes to the gee, Chuck, the date started off good, but after we got in, she started to tense up. Did you see the guy in Spain's Got Talent who played? Yeah, I saw it. Yep. The heck did I just come back to? Alrighty then. Your number still 911? Last several days I've had severe weather rolling here too. Also the heat index is over 100. Fun times. If you can't stand the heat, get off the planet. That's how that works, right? It's cold up there. Ish. Perfect thing to join a stream to. What are your thoughts on 3D printed rockets? I'll let you know in a second, okay? Yeah. So, Cygnus did dock up to the space station. That's the NG-16 launch. We did watch this launch the other day on the Antares rocket launching out of Wallops Island, the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport in Virginia. Pretty cool. Got up to the space station. Cygnus does not dock. It is berth. It just basically maneuvers near the space station, and then the arm grabs it and wrangles it in and then latches it to the space station like it would a space station module. The reason why Cygnus won't dock by itself is because there's no way to have translate thrusters here. Cygnus just has thrusters on one side, on the very back. So that makes it so it can only really turn, go forward, and go backwards. It can't translate. Translational controls are required for docking. Cygnus is a lot simpler in that regard. With Cygnus, or a thing that needs to be berthed, all you really need to do is just get it near the station, and then the arm can pluck it out. Docking requires a lot more components than just having I have a service module in the back, it's fine. No, it's a little more complicated than that. So to keep it simple, you have the arm that can grapple things and it can move them into position, which is pretty cool. All right, so the next thing here is coming from Harry Stranger over on Twitter. Yesterday, high-resolution images captured two of SpaceX's drone ship, a short-fall of Gravitas set in Port Canaveral waiting for a first mission, and then, of course, I Still Love You in Ensenada, Mexico. Huh. Just spin it like now. Okay, yeah, it'll be fine. What is the cost of that? Docking? Docking stuff is way harder. It's usually way more expensive. Ensenada. So... oh, it's right there. You get nada. It's a big dry dock. Huh. ESA News. Yeah, I covered the Venus encounter the other day, I think, Swishio, and then that second link isn't working. She's missing the engine pods. Yeah, I guess. I wonder what they're doing with, of course, I Still Love You down there. No, this isn't enchilada, it's ensenada, alright? Different, very different. So I've never actually looked here. This is on the Baja, this is Baja. Oh, these are all fishing boats over here. There's a cruise ship right there. Gravitas level upgrades? Not sure. Interesting. Man, that mountain range just keeps on going through Baja, huh? Crazy. I've never actually looked down here on Google Earth. Is there, like... yeah. Okay, there's cities and stuff down here. I would imagine it's pretty remote down there, though. El Sargento. They make cheese. They don't. What did it dock in Mexico? It's in a dry dock in Ensenada. Interesting. Yeah, pretty beaches from... yeah. What's here? I've never actually gone and looked at Baja on Google Earth. I probably shouldn't do it for too long, but... yeah, there's not much stuff out here. It's pretty freaking remote from what I can tell. Huh. You can see the thrusters lying on the dock in one of the images in this tweet. Okay. So this is Paulina Kalin over at NASA Spaceflight taking pictures of what looks like the berth at Long Beach that SpaceX has. That's a Falcon 9 processing stool right there. They use this after they take Falcon 9 off of a drone ship. They set it down on this, and these are just Falcon 9's hold down points like you would see on the pad, but they're fixed. They stay there. The hold down points on Falcon 9 in real life actually retract out of the way. But they put Falcon 9 on here, and then they fold the legs up on this jig right here. Yeah, see, there's the processing stool, and you see it next to the cars for some scale. This one works, okay. Yeah, look at that freaking chunker of a container ship over there. There's a fairing. See the fairing right there? So SpaceX recently, relatively recently, basically bought up space launches, or picked up space launches, or sea launches, not space launches. Sea launches berth over here in Long Beach. Long story short, from like here all the way to the end, SpaceX leased all of this, including the berth right there. This was where Sea Launch, which was a oil rig that was converted to launch rockets, this is where Sea Launch was for the longest time. You can see it right there in these pictures. See? That's a rocket launch pad. So basically, the vehicle integration facility is on the Sea Launch Commander and the launch control, and then they put the rocket there, and then they put it onto the strongback in this building right here. Sea Launch actually docks, the Sea Launch Commander docks to the front. This meets up right there, and they move the rocket into the horizontal facility and then put it out on the pad. It was designed to launch Zenit S-3L rockets. But that a Russian company bought this up called S7. And the sea launch actually was moved halfway around the world. It's in Murmansk, I think. It's in Russia somewhere. And then SpaceX scored this whole area. In fact, the building still says sea launch on it if we look at the see, right there. So, 3 garage doors with the sea launch building behind it and some huts. Let's see, what are we looking at? Up, right there. So that picture was taken right here. Looking this way, there's the sea launch building and the 3 huts. Falcon 9 processing stools. Looks like it's basically right here. They put it right in the center of that parking lot. Nice, Coley. Interesting, B-Money. Huh. Yeah, see, there's a payload integration area, or payload processing building right here. I wonder if they'll utilize that at all. But because the lease is for all of this. It's for basically everything here. Like SpaceX from here all the way to the point. And then that berth right there, SpaceX got all of that in the lease. So who knows? Who knows what that's for? Well, looks like there's some junk cars out there. That's great. And then not really sure what this was used for at any particular point, but it looks like it was used for something at some point, I guess. Anyway, let's keep going. Sage and watch this. Oh boy, an ad. That's good. Nice to know that the blocker isn't working. Yeah, there's a sea launch video. Cool. All right. So, yeah, interesting. The blue thing in the second picture is is the thrusters. Oh yeah, they are there. Interesting. Strange. At some point, it is a point. That's the joke. That was the joke. All right. Anyway, Terminal Island was a drag strip once. Oh, that's cool. I wish. I wouldn't want to race out there, though, Rich. All the salty air, it'll ruin your car. Anyway, speaking of that, speaking of SpaceX drone ships, we have a picture of... Jenny Houtman posted a picture here on Twitter of the entire SpaceX East Coast fleet. That was the West Coast fleet. Here's the entire East Coast fleet right now. So you have... Just read the instructions, who's seen some better days. A lot of rockets have landed on that thing. You have Go Searcher, Go Navigator, and Go Quest. Yeah, Quest is in the center, Thomas. There's a tug, and then there's the newest SpaceX barge, Shortfall of Gravitas. So we got old and busted, new hotness. Should I get an automaton? Get a small one. Get the small one. It's fun. You can... From top, Searcher, Quest, and Navigator. There you go. What are the small ones for? Recovering Dragon capsules. These are for recovering Dragon 2s. So when people come back down on the Dragon capsule, that's what Go Searcher and Go Navigator for. Quest is a supporting ship. They're all very similar styles of ship. Quest and Navigator are the same thing. They're called 170 class DP1s. Here, 170 class DP1. It's a rig. It's called a rig tender. Yes, we found. I know you can find the blueprints here. It's a rig tender. It's basically a pickup truck for oil rigs, or just a semi truck for oil rigs. It's designed to move liquid mud out there because they use it for cooling, and it can carry fuel oil or ballast. You can do a bunch of things with these things. They're cool. They're cool ships. You can basically put whatever you want on the back, and they can counterbalance it with ballast. So yeah, it's a pretty neat little thing. Is Quest gonna go bye-bye when Bob and Doug arrive? Maybe. Yeah, and we have 2 new monsters on the way. Yeah, there's 2 other ships that SpaceX is adding to the SpaceX Navy. They're probably I think they're replacing Mr. Steven, or Mystery and Mischief. I can confirm SpaceX is building 2 brand new ships. Bob and Doug are designed as an all-purpose solution to tow and support drone ships offshore and recover fairing halves. Huh. Is that person in the blueprint included? Oh, yeah. Rewatching yesterday's Israel launch, I noticed there are armed soldiers in front of every door in Mission Control. Is that a common thing? Yeah, you just don't see it as much, but Swishio, yeah, most of the time. We have them on the outsides of the doors over here. SpaceX was replacing Mystery, Mischief, and GoQuest with these 2 new ships called Bob and Doug. Credit to Richard Jimenez. Alright, what do we got? Let me just get all the pictures up. They called them Bob and Doug. I love it. That's awesome. Look at these things. Man, that's not a 170 DP1. It's a much bigger ship. This is bigger than Go Searcher and Go Navigator, isn't it? Not by much, but it is bigger. That's a big ship. And they have a crane for picking the fairings up. I think this might be a helicopter pad, but I'm not sure. What's their purpose? Fairing recovery and drone ship support. Make it in Kerbal? Yeah, this wouldn't be too hard to make. That's cool, man. It's freaking SpaceX Navy. You think Elon ever realized that he would have a navy of ships, a small navy of recovery ships? I mean, my only question is, what's going to happen to all this stuff when Falcon 9 stops flying? Oh, well, actually, they'll support the oil rigs. Never mind. Oh, yeah, no, SpaceX is going to have a navy for a long time. Doug. What is my purpose? You passed butter. 203 feet. Yeah, oil rigs. Jack, it's on the back burner right now, but SpaceX bought 2 oil rigs called Phobos and Deimos. Nice. And it's like I said, it's on the back burner right now. They're focusing on orbital launch, but supposedly they're going to make floating spaceports, floating launch pads. Or a museum, yeah, maybe. Do you know when BN4 and SN20 are launching? Tough to say. If I were a betting man, Ryan, I would say probably September. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. But they are working fast, so it's not going to be that much farther away. I really like the name of these support ships. Me too, Joe. That's really cool. I don't like them being just called Bob and Doug. I keep calling them SXV Bob and SXV Doug for SpaceX vessel. I don't think Falcon 9 will be retired until the 2030s. So yeah, hopefully we get a long life. Do you think SN20 will make orbit? I don't see why it wouldn't. Yeah, there you go, Forge, right? Alright, so that's cool, man. Shortfall of gravitas is really cool. It seems like SpaceX is really trying to optimize the whole land the thing on a barge, right? You see a big difference between ASOG and JERTI. Just read the instructions in Shortfall of gravitas. It's a much more integrated system, which I think that thing looks sweet. Really cool. And that's what Bob and Doug are designed to support. They're designed to support these. Right now, the Quest, that one in the center, supports them. But, yeah. Not anymore, you're not. I mean, just look at the scale here, guys. Like, I know I always say that, but look at the trucks. Look at the trucks, man. The trucks look like toys compared to these things. These things are almost the size of a soccer field or a football field or a football field if you're from North America. Yep. Towing will also be done by the new ships, but only when the ASDSs aren't able to go full autonomous. Yep. Do we have new info about a shortfall of gravitas? Well, read what Thomas said. Anyway, so let's keep going. What do we got over here? Northrop Grumman has not ruled out another try at national security. Oh. What? Nah, they said they haven't ruled it out. Don't get your hopes up. Let's see. Northrop Grumman has not ruled out another try at national security space launch. This is coming from Space News by Sandra Irwin here. Huntsville, Alabama. A year after discontinuing the development of the Omega rocket, Northrop Grumman is not completely ruling out a future attempt to get back in the national security launch market. We do continue to trade different opportunities and different options for investing in future capabilities, and of course, it's very much market-driven, said Kevin Richardson, Northrop Grumman's Director of Launch Vehicle Business Development. Before it was acquired by Northrop Grumman, OATK in 2016 unveiled plans to develop a solid-fueled, heavy-lift launch vehicle intended for national security satellite launches, and in 2018 secured $800 million from the Air Force to support the project. The vehicle, named Omega, consisted of solid rocket stages with an upper stage liquid engine provided by Aerojet Rocketdyne. DNR Omega, savage. Northrop Grumman in 2020 lost out to ULA and SpaceX in Phase 2 of the NSSL program. Richardson said national security remains the company's main business, but a decision on whether to restart a rocket development will be entirely driven by market opportunities. That's something we're actively trading, not only just across the national security space side of launch vehicles, but across all the different payload classes as well as different orbital layers and orbital insertion points. The next opportunity to compete for an NSSL contract would come in 2023 when the Space Force plans to seek bids for its Phase 3 launch procurement. Space Force's Launch Enterprise is scheduled an Industrial Day in Los Angeles later this month for early discussions on Phase 3 of NSSL. Joe Cagnelli, Northrop Grumman's Director of Launch and Missile Defense, said the company's executives will attend the Industry Day and will be interested in hearing about the Space Force's plans to select future launch services providers. We're going to look at what their intentions are. Just extensions of the current contracts that they have today, or whether or not they're going to be looking at something beyond that. That's the trading that we're going to do in terms of the level of investment that's required for moving forward in the area of talking about building Omega. Industry analysts were not surprised that Northrop Grumman terminated the Omega program after losing NSSL Phase 2, given the cost of maintaining a launch vehicle with no firm customers on the horizon. Jim McLeese? I'm sorry. If Jim ever sees this, I'm sorry. Of McLeese and Associates noted that the most of Northrop Grumman's profits in its space business come from ICBMs, missile defense interception equipment, and solid rocket boosters for those. NSSL Phase 3 is going to be in 2028-ish, so it will be a while. The RFP is 2023. Awards should be about 2025 to 2026, and then flying in 2028. Interesting. I mean, personally, I thought Northrop Grumman should discontinue Antares and just make Omega instead. But just launch Cygnus on an Omega rocket. But that's just me. That makes too much sense. I mean, if you did that, you'd get a lot of flight data, because I know that Northrop Grumman wants to use Omega technology. They want to use that $800 million worth of development that the Air Force paid them to target NASA, to target future SLS boosters. They want to use the carbon composite segmented boosters that they developed during Omega, and they want to eventually put those on SLS. So, why would you carry such redundant, dissimilar architecture like that under one provider? If it was me, I would have just kept going. I would have just kept making Omega. And then target Gateway Logistics or something. But they said they're watching demand, so there's a very good possibility that that might happen. They're kind of cautiously approaching it, but yeah. How big is Omega? Oh. It's now keep in mind, don't get your hopes up. It's discontinued. They're not making it anymore. At least it's mothballed for now. Omega was really cool. Really, really cool rocket. So here's a picture of it. I got you a nice picture here. Take a look at this thing. So Omega was a rocket that Northrop Grumman Northrop Grumman wanted to build for national security launches. Basically, it would have used Northrop Grumman's GEM-63 boosters, same boosters that are on Vulcan. But the center core, all right, the core stage is a 2-segment solid rocket motor. So the space shuttle boosters and SLS boosters are a 4-segment motor. See? Omega had a 2-segment motor, carbon composite 2-segment motor, and then on top of that, it had a single segment motor. This is called a Castor 300, and that's called a Castor 600. So 2-segment with a single segment on top. And then they would have had a stage that looks like it's somewhere synonymous in function with a dual-engine ICPS. So something like a Delta IV upper stage on top of that. It's only SRBs in the first and second stage. The third stage is the liquid fuel stage, and then it has a 5-meter payload fairing on top. The reason why I thought Omega was so damn cool is because if you look at this launch pad render, well, hey, that ain't far off. This ain't far off from what the vehicle is actually supposed to look like. They were going to build. Northrop Grumman bought a shuttle launcher platform, and they were reconfiguring it at the time the program got canceled. They were reconfiguring it to launch this instead. A mobile launcher with a, so it would have used 39B. They would have used NASA's launch pad 39B, the same pad that SLS is using, right? It's a baby Ares 1 with boosters attached to it. Well, it's funny you should mention that, because building out an LUT, I never understood why they would do that, why they would build such a big mobile launcher for such a small rocket. And then they released this. And then they released that thing on the right. There was a Omega Heavy variant that they wanted to field. This is just the medium duty booster. This is the heavy booster. The heavy booster has a Castor 1200. It's a 4-segment booster. 4-segment solid rocket booster, 6 GEM-63s, a Castor 300 second stage, and an extended liquid fuel third stage. This thing could put 10 tons to geostationary. Yeah. That explains the tower. Is ULA's Vulcan reusable? Not right now, but it could be. I was really bummed out when Omega got canceled because it's really cool. It's a really cool little rocket. So, yeah, that thing would have been pretty sweet. It would have been pretty sweet seeing a booster that big. I mean, that Omega XL, the Omega Heavy is as tall as a Saturn V, dudes. It's big. Anti-Saint, 52-month resub. It can also put Orion into low Earth orbit. It can do that. Would have been nice. Why did it get canceled? The Air Force only wanted to field 2 providers for their national security launch program, and they fielded SpaceX and ULA. So they canceled it. But it seems like, per this article, that they mothballed it. They just mothballed it for now. They said they'll watch the market. If market demand starts to go up and the markets change, it sounds like they can easily re-implement the Omega program if they really needed to. Another important thing to understand is that there is credence to that statement. They're not just blowing steam. You know how I know? The lack of SLS footage. Yeah, the lack of SLS footage makes a lot of sense. Now, okay, what does SLS have to do with Omega? What are you talking about? So, in the VAB, Once upon a time, during the shuttle program, when NASA owned all the high bays, or didn't lease out the high bays to any commercial contractors, we had live streams from inside of the VAB. We could watch shuttle stacks get built. Live streams. Oh yeah. We could watch a shuttle stack get thrown together in real time. We couldn't do that. We can't do that with the SLS nowadays. The reason for that is because NASA, there's stuff inside of the VAB that's either proprietary or violates the International Trafficking Arms Regulations laws. So proprietary is the key word. The only indication that we know of that of a commercial contractor working inside of the VAB is Northrop Grumman. They were going to use High Bay 4 inside of the VAB to put this rocket together. So, when they say the project's kind of on hold, right? When they say the project's kind of on hold because of, I can stretch my back, and they're watching the markets, I actually believe them. They put their money where their mouth is because NASA can't film inside of the VAB because there's proprietary or ITAR stuff there. That tells me that Northrop Grumman still has commercial rights to one of the bays in the high bay and they can't film there. So the fact that they wouldn't cancel that contract immediately tells me that they're waiting. So we might see Omega in the future. Who knows? Has there been any info on being able to make multi-segment SRBs in KSP2? Not sure, Torlav, but I made sure to tell Nate about that when I met him. In 2019, when I went and talked to the developers, I made it a thing to explain to them. And they probably thought, to be honest, they probably thought I was annoying as all hell. But, I kind of steered the conversation in this direction. Sorry, guys. We were talking about SRBs and how, we were at the Museum of Flight. I went to the Museum of Flight with the KSP2 developers. And once again, they're really good dudes. I really, 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 really miss hanging out with them. I really enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. They're really good guys, and the most important part for me is that they're nuts about KSP. Nate Simpson, the creative director, before he was even involved with KSP2, has a couple thousand hours of KSP under his belt. He's a Kerbal nutcase. He's a Kerbal nutter. So that's why I kind of was more candid about it than I usually am. You guys know me. I don't really like being the squeaky wheel. I will if I have to, though. So what I told him was, let's make stackable SRBs so you can make casings. You can make segmented casings. And I explained that SRBs can be segmented like on Ariane 5 or Titan 3 or Titan 4 or the Space Shuttle or SLS, or you can have a single casing SRB. And they can be made out of steel or they can be made out of carbon composite. And I went off on one of my EJ tangents and they were like, Jesus Christ, shut up. Well, maybe not, but they probably were. Hey, Cammy, what's going on? Could Falcon Heavy or Vulcan put Orion into low Earth orbit? Yeah, Falcon Heavy could absolutely do it, Ryan. Heck, Falcon 9 could. Falcon 9 could do it. You'd have to burn... Orion would have to use its service module to get into space. It would have to use the service module as basically a third stage. So you wouldn't be able to get very far. But a Falcon 9 could do it. Yeah, it could do it, and you'd need a weird interstage adapter. But, the Orion fairing in the Orion Launch Escape System is about the same diameter as SpaceX's fairings to begin with. So it wouldn't aerodynamically change the vehicle that much. The dynamic loads would probably be a problem because Orion's heavy. It's very heavy. And, it's funny because people say, Orion's heavy. It's such a stupid design. Dragon 2 and Starliner are much lighter. I'm like, you know that Orion is heavy in the same way that, a motorhome is heavier than a van. Right? Motorhomes tend to be a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier than a freaking van. Can you live out of both of those? Sure. How much creature comforts do you want? I wonder what MLP they would use if Omega was to come back, because didn't they scrap the 2 shuttle MLPs last year? I don't know, Phil. I don't know. I heard that the last we heard about Omega was that they were going to scrap. They stopped construction and they were going to scrap ML3. Or MLP3. I haven't heard anything about that since. So, for all we know, dude, it could still be sitting there. I'd want to ask, like, Chris G. Chris G would probably know. Isn't Orion still small for anything, like, longer than a few days? Willie, Orion can survive with 4 people aboard by itself as it's its own functional spacecraft and all the amenities for people for 21 days by itself. The cool thing about Orion, and this is part of the reason why Orion is so damn expensive, because it is an RV. Okay? So, but it's not an RV in the way that you think. Okay? So, here. Are you guys familiar? I got the Cletus hat on. Are you guys familiar with a toter home? Anybody familiar with that? So a toter home is half semi-truck, half motor home. It tows like a truck, and you can live in it, right? Hey, Horizon Side, thank you for the raid. That's what Orion is. This is why Orion is expensive, and this is why it's heavy. Orion not only is a capsule that can come back down and land with a service module. You could tow stuff with it if you wanted to. You could use the SPS, the Service Propulsion System, to tow things. But the key here is the trailer. Okay? What does that mean? Orion can interface with a much bigger spacecraft or space station, and it can become the flight deck for the entire vehicle. Orion was always designed from the start to be able to interface with a much larger vehicle and become that vehicle's flight deck. So you can dock to like a space station, and Orion can control the space station from the capsule. It's a toter home. If the space shuttle was a semi-truck, basically a box truck, Orion is a toter home. You can live in it if you want. It's not really ideal. It's not a motorhome. But you could attach a motorhome or a motorhome trailer to the back, no problem. And the truck would pull the whole thing. Orion can tow the whole thing, just like the Apollo capsule could. It's the same thing. It's a freaking toter home, and it is reusable, Salarate. Yep. Mm-hmm. What's going on, Horizon Sci Raiders? What was Horizon Sci up to today? You guys, want to talk about, STEM streamers that know physics. Horizon Sci knows, he knows his stuff. He's a physics teacher. He knows it way better than I do. Imagine Orion docks with the ISS and screws all the electronics. You spelled Nauka wrong. Yeah, if you guys like physics and you like physics STEM streaming like what I do, Horizon Sci's your guy. Welcome, Horizon Sci Raiders. What was Horizon up to today? It better be reusable with 12.2 billion. Well, .com. Here's the thing: is that more expensive than buying a van? Is that more expensive than buying one of these? Because this is what Dragon 2 and Starliner are. That's what those things are. That's what Orion is. Does the cost structuring and the price make more sense now, and the weight? That should make a little bit more sense. Orion is a beast mode of a capsule. We'd be stupid to not use that thing. Okay, so the capsule itself, cramped-ish without the service module. There's not a lot of space inside of the capsule, Willie, but Orion has stuff like a toilet that the Apollo capsule did not have. Toter home. Yeah. Yeah, the toilet. I mean, Dragon 2 has a toilet as well, and I'd assume that Starliner probably does too. You want to know what the toilet was on the Apollo capsule? Here, poop in this bag. Here's a Ziploc bag. You have to go to the bathroom? Yeah, here. Yeah. So suddenly the Apollo astronauts aren't so... Yeah, now you got that picture stuck in your head. You know what was the solution on the moon and the LEM? There wasn't enough mass for a toilet. Here, poop in this bag and throw it out the airlock. The poop is sus. there are still bags of poop up on the moon from all the Apollo landing sites. Yep, kind of ruined your picture in your mind of the Apollo astronauts, huh? Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, also, yeah, you want to get it out of the CSM. You just don't want a bag of poop floating around. Throw it out the airlock. Actually, there is no airlock. Depressurize the capsule, open the hatch, and throw the poop out the window. Seriously, that was the solution. They didn't have enough mass for the damn toilet. It was too heavy. Yeah, that's right. There isn't an airlock on the LEM either. Literally depressurize it, open the door, and throw it outside. Gotta go when you gotta go. Very romantic. Yep, one small poop for man, one giant dump for mankind. Yep. No suction for the poop in 0G. Yeah. They should have used the 3 seashells, bro, handy. I want to know if any microbes survive. That's one of the reasons, still, John, why I say we should land at the Apollo 17 landing site. That's where, if it was up to me, that's where Artemis 3 would land. Pick one of the Apollo sites, just one. Don't land at the Apollo 11 landing site. No, that's history. But open that book. Open that book right where we left off, right at Apollo 17. Land there and inspect the equipment. It would be a really good mission. And collect the poop. Yeah, that's important. I mean, see if the LRV still works. Bring some batteries, change the batteries on the lunar rover, and see if it still works. That'd be one heck of a barn find. I have it teed up, Hygatron. We'll watch it in a second. Imagine some astronaut archaeologists finding frozen poop on the moon in 2,000 years. Yeah, there you go. NASA put this RFI out a few days ago for the use of High Bay 2. Huh. High Bay 2? High Bay 2. Okay. What do we got? It's probably dead, James, or dormant. We should go find out. Okay, this is an RFI, a request for information. What is this? NASA releases these, and these are basically NASA, pinging out to people saying, hey, if we were going to do X, how would we do it? And commercial, contractors reply to this. Let's see what we got. RFI, the use of vehicle assembly building High Bay 2, an integrated concept of launch processing operations. NASA and KSC is requesting information from U.S. domestic entities, including federal, state, and U.S. commercial launch providers interested in using the vehicle assembly building High Bay 2 for launch operations, including ground operations, pre-launch integration, checkout, and spacecraft or payload testing at KSC. High Bay 2, I thought Omega was using High Bay 4, Thomas. No, it's not. It is using 2. So because it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, okay. You've heard rumors about SpaceX? Here, I'll show you guys what we mean. NASA's vehicle assembly building, where they built all the shuttle stacks and all the Saturn V's, that big building. It's 500 feet tall, down in Kennedy Space Center. You can see it for miles. This thing. Yes, these pixels are very nice. And are we gonna 3D buildings me or something, or nope? Okay. So this thing, the high bay, the VAB has 4 high bays in it that allows for integration and transfer and launch of 4 different rockets in parallel. So you see where the 5-sided marks are? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, actually, the numbering goes like this: High Bay 1, High Bay 2, High Bay 3, and High Bay 4. They could basically, NASA was basically anticipating a huge market for Saturn V launches, so they built a gigantic vehicle assembly building that could put four Saturn V stacks together all at once. So, Throughout the Apollo program, they ended up using High Bay 1 and High Bay 3. They used 2 and 4 for staging and storage during the Apollo program. They were never configured for the Saturn V. These ones were. And then during the shuttle program, they reconfigured High Bay 1 and High Bay 3. And then for SLS, they reconfigured High Bay 3, and that's it. Supposedly, they're going to reconfigure High Bay 1, supposedly. We'll see what happens. But this RFI is for High Bay 2. This one. That's the one that Omega was going to use, Thomas. Yeah, you're right. If NASA rented out High Bay 2, wouldn't they only have one high bay to stack SLS? They only have one high bay to stack SLS right now anyway. High Bay 4 isn't connected to the crawlerway. Yeah, they never bothered making it. That's a nice cloud. Yep. Yeah, High Bay 2, you could build a rocket in there and then roll it out on the crawler all the way around. So, NASA and Northrop Grumman were going to use High Bay 2 to build Omega, and then they were going to roll out Omega and have it go all the way down here, all the way over here, to there at 39B, where SLS is going to launch. It was going to use the same pad. But this RFI, let's see. The KSC master plan contemplates both U.S. and government and commercial launch activities at KSC. Stupid. The Center Planning Development Directorate, CPD, develops, implements, and administers the KSC Master Plan. Periodically, CPD conducts market research and seeks industry... Yeah, market research. Yeah, did you do a lot of market research for 39C, guys? Sorry. I hate that stupid thing. Parking lots do not make launch pads. Okay? Purpose. The purpose of this RFI is to identify U.S. domestic entities interested in using High Bay 2 as a part of an end-to-end concept of operations for launch and processing activities at KSC, and to understand how those entities requirements. This information NASA receives in response to this RFI will inform its strategy for use of VAB High Bay 2. If NASA enters into any real estate agreements for use on VAB High Bay 2, NASA will retain ownership and control of the facility and will act as the site operator integrator for maintenance and facility of the equipment. Is anyone leasing High Bay 1? High Bay 1 and High Bay 4 are not being used right now, Ryan. It's a criticism that I have. That's a very big criticism that I have of NASA. You know, people always spout all this dog crap about SLS this, too expensive that, blah, 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 blah. You want to know an actual legitimate concern? And here's the thing. SLS, Ryan, is what's called total cost involved. So when you see the price tag of $1 billion a launch, that is everything. That's everything. All the buildings that you need to make the rocket, all the test sites that you need to test the rocket, all the integration facilities that you need, all the materials that it costs, the man hours that it costs to put the rocket together, the man hours that it costs to transport the rocket to the testing site, to the pads, put the thing together, move it to the pad, buy the fuel that you need for the rocket, put the rocket together, launch it, and bring it back. That's total cost involved. That's what that is. It's the end-to-end cost. That's why SLS's price tag seems so expensive. It's actually not as expensive as you think. However, there are places where you could make SLS kind of make the money that you invested in SLS work for you instead of against you. One of those, Ryan, is the fact that SLS uses one high bay inside of the VAB. But NASA pays for the maintenance on the entire building. They are literally paying for 4 high bays and using one. Throughout the entire Apollo program and the entire shuttle program, the shuttle program paid for the maintenance on the VAB, and they only ever used 2 of the high bays. They never used 4 of them for shuttle operations. So the entire time, basically since 1965, NASA has been paying for 4 high bays and only using 2 of them. See what I'm talking about? How much is the electric bill on the damn VAB? How much is the electric bill? How much is the maintenance? Imagine the maintenance that you need to keep a 500-foot tall building maintained well in Florida. Okay, that put a I think we do know the maintenance of keeping tall buildings in Florida under control. That was not a good place to go with that, but you get the idea. From what I'm hearing, SpaceX is looking to build a crawler and use one of the high bays. I could see it for Lunar Starship, maybe. I didn't think of it that way. That's part of the reason why SLS is so dang expensive. The B-2 test stand that they green run the SLS on. It cost $1 billion to refurbish that thing to get it up to snuff for launching the core stage. The last time that thing was used was like 1978. Like, it hasn't been used in a long time. But if you stop maintaining, you lose capability. John, what I'm saying is, if you're going to pay for the maintenance, you might as well pay a little more to at least get something out of all that money that you're spending. That's what I mean. SLS's money could be stretched to be way more efficient per dollar capability right here. They just don't do it. That's one of my big criticisms of SLS. I want more SLS, not less. Less SLS is going to be more expensive in the long run. And I think that's a very legitimate concern. I want more of these rockets to launch. The more that we launch, the more the price per launch, total cost involved, goes down. Right? It doesn't cost that much more money to build 1 core versus 2 cores. To build 2 cores versus 4. To build 5 SLS cores, 10 SLS cores. Because it doesn't matter if you make 1 or you make 5. You have to train all the people to build this 1 core. That costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to train all these employees and keep them on the payroll and teach them how to build this core stage and have them build the core stage. Is it going to cost that much more to build 5 of them? No, you've already footed the bill for training here. You already footed the bill for maintenance for this facility that can handle building 20 of these things in Michoud, in Louisiana. Why wouldn't you do this from the start? That's one of my big gripes with SLS. Like, we're literally wasting money. And NASA, instead of actually addressing the problem, is just like, oh, we'll just pawn off High Bay 2. It's, we'll recoup some of that cost that way. It's just like, you spread the R&D costs, Speedy. That's right. Price goes down over time. Elon says this all the time, and it doesn't matter if you're expendable or reusable. It still rings true. Use is better than mothballs. Mothballing stuff gets expensive, John. You know how much does it cost to mothball a ship? There's a reason why ships don't last that long in the reserve fleet. Will NASA ever use High Bay 4? Probably not. High Bay 4 has always been used for storage. Ryan, I think they use High Bay 4 to stage the SRBs for SLS right now. Popping in to hurt your soul. What is this, C-22? Oh, yeah, that's Route 16. Yeah. Yeah, this is in Revere. Yeah, I know where this is. I don't even see the chaos, man. All I see is right turn, left turn. All I see is blonde, brunette, redhead. I don't even see the code anymore. They last forever if we do proper maintenance, but like NASA, money's always the issue. Yeah, what a mess. It makes sense when you're driving it. Yeah, I can show you guys exactly where this is. It's in Revere. It's near Suffolk Downs, which was a horse racing track. The Blue Line for the locals. Blue Line, Wonderland. It's right here. Where's Route 1 coming out of the airport? Huh. Wait a minute. I drive through this intersection all the time. You got to go out of the airport, right? And there. Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. You go through the roundabout. Yeah, you got to keep going. There's another roundabout. And then there's Route 1 right there. Huh. Where the hell did it go? Enhance. Let me look at those roads again, C22. That's Mystic Valley Parkway, so that's Route 16. Dude, I know this intersection. It's somewhere over here. But yeah, it's bad. I mean, look, Boston has a bunch of stuff like this. They have highways. We have highways that just end. Because they were like, yeah, we should build it through here. And then everybody said, no, don't build it through there. We have to, it's too loud, or we shouldn't do that. You can see, they even graded the bed for the road. See it right there? Yeah, they're going to build a highway that goes up here. Nah, nix that idea. You can see that where that highway was going to go. Where is it? Google it. Jim, it's right around here, dude. I've driven through that intersection before. Thomas, you already find it? I'm close. I know I'm very close. Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Yep. Yeah. This is by... Yep. Okay. Where am I? Hold on. Let me back out. Okay. By the casino. I was close. Yep. Yep. I could show you others. This isn't the only one that looks, you just look at it and go, what? Let's see. No, just no. Here, I'll show you one that's a little more local to me. Let's go a little bit west. We got to go to Newton here. There is a road in Newton that has 5 sets of traffic lights within a quarter of a mile in a row. It's right here where Washington Street crosses the Mass Pike. So you have a set of lights right there for that intersection, a set of lights right there, a set of lights right there, a set of lights right there, and a set of lights right there. Yep. Just kill me. Yeah, look. Ready? Here, let's go zoom in. Traffic lights, traffic lights, traffic lights, traffic lights, traffic lights, traffic lights, traffic lights. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is not far from my house. Yeah, it's really, really annoying, actually. Yeah. Really annoying. Look, there's even traffic in the Google Earth picture. Oh yeah, and then the road forks, by the way. Halfway between 2 of these lights. Yeah, the road forks. So there's another set of lights for the fork. I forgot about that. Yeah. How was West Newton Pizza? Yeah, I've never been in there. The pizza place I go to is down Washington Street. It's over by, I mean, not that this is valuable information to anyone here. There's a pizza place that's a hole in the wall that I go to over here. It's in this building. How's Elements Massage? Oh, I don't know. It's by the post office. The post office is over here. I may or may not have worked there once upon a time. Yeah, this is my city, man. Dude, look at the highways. I can't even get that right. What the hell what? Alright. This is freaking... I use this intersection all the time when I'm going to get late night Mickey D's. If I go to get late night Mickey D's, the only 24-hour freaking McDonald's is right there in that service area. And the only freaking way to get to that service area is not from this, because that on-ramp goes around the service area and connects into the highway over there. Can't get at it from this way, because you can't turn around right there. So you have to get on the freaking Mass Pike to go to this McDonald's. You have to get on 90 to get to the stupid McDonald's. That's the only 24-hour McDonald's around. Frickin', that's on a completely different road than 90. The only way to get to it is to go up here, down here, go through here, right? And then I can't even get back on the roads to get back home going this way. I have to go down to the Route 9 interchange and then go this way. Because my house is over here. It's a real big pain in the butt. Yeah, I have to get on the Mass Pike, go down here, go down here, go down there, and go back up. It's this huge loop that's completely useless. Yeah, annoying. Yep, that's my life. I tell you, I don't even see the chaos anymore. All I see is, left turn, right turn. Yep. I mean, look at this road. Look at this road here. Just sure, why not? Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, 90 is a toll road. So I every time I go get McNuggets, I get taxed a little bit. This is bull crap. I don't even see the code anymore. All I see is blonde, brunette, redhead. Yeah, C22. That's dude. It doesn't even bother me anymore. Anytime Brimo and I want to go anywhere in the city, Brimo's like, "Oh, Google says it's going to take 15 minutes." I go, "No, it's going to take 45." And she's like, "Why? How do you know that?" I'm like, Just assume somebody's an idiot. Yeah, just assume that. Just assume there's going to be traffic. That's the right way to do it. Just take the time and times it by like 3. Yeah. You think it's going to take an hour to get to the airport? No. Try 2. Isn't Newton what the Fig Newton is named after? That's correct, Builder. Yep. Can you even walk to that McDonald's from close by? No. Walk? That, no, that's not a thing. No, that's not a thing. I mean, reposting, you regularly have to traverse this. Oh. Take the T? Well, okay. I mean, I guess I could get away with that. We could get away if we're just going to take a little detour here. Traveling jokes. If we're going to take a little bit of a detour here, I could take the green line. You take the green line. There's two train tracks that go near that McDonald's, okay? There's the commuter rail, and then there's mass transit. So there's a train station for the commuter rail, which is Auburndale right there. In which case, I need to get on the train right here in Newtonville, go down 2 stops, get off here, and then walk this way. All right. Or we could take the green line. But the green line is down here. So that means I'd have to walk over here to BC or Newton Center, right? And then take the green line all the way down here, right? And then go all the way over here to Riverside, the end of the line, and then walk to the Mickey D's. Or I could just take the car and just... Yeah. No, I'm not doing that. No, not doing that. We have mass transit. It's just... it is useful, don't get me wrong. But in this particular regard, it is not useful at all. It's a lot of effort just to get a burger. I just want to go get my damn McNuggets. At the intersection where we started, at what was the railhead there by the casino? That's the red line. Or no, orange? Orange. Yeah, that's the... No, red line goes into Cambridge. That's the orange line. That's near Assembly Square. There was a car plant. There was a manufacturing plant here. You can see what's left of it right there. It's a mall now. That was a Ford plant. Yeah. Assembly Square. Henry Ford bought up all this land right here and built a factory there in the 30s. Just on a side note, there's the casino. The casino, they lobbied for years and years and years and years to get a casino in Boston. And they finally got it. And they finally completed construction and opened the casino in February of 2020. Oops. Yep. No, the casino is mothballed indefinitely, dude. Those look like locks there, yeah. I think this is what is that, the Hoosic River? I forget, man. Oops. Whoops. That's an orange line. An orange line service area. So, John, this is gonna piss you off. This will piss off a lot of people. You see all the different lines? So we have green line, red line, blue line, orange line, and then there's the commuter rail, right? There's the purple line or the commuter rail, right? And then there's the silver line, right? It's a good mass transit system. It's not the worst. We don't have the worst by any means. Like, it's pretty good. You can use it to get around if you don't have a car. It's actually useful. But the thing is that it's really expensive. Why is the mass transit so damn expensive? It is privatized. Our mass transit system is privatized. The thing about it, every single form of mass transit that we have is redundant, dissimilar to other ones. So, if you look at this nice little infographic here, the green line does not work with the red line or the orange line. The orange line doesn't work with the red line. The red line doesn't work with the blue line. The blue line doesn't work with the high-speed Ashmont-Mattapan loop. The silver line is a freaking bus, and the commuter rail is heavy rail. Yeah, none of these are interchangeable. Some of them have overhead rails. Some of them have third rails. Some of them are diesel-powered. Some of them are electric. Some of them are hybrids. Nothing is interchangeable with anything. Oh, even the buses. This one doesn't go with that. You can't operate those on those. Yeah, that's different. They're different buses. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. There's no standardization. So that's why there's all those maintenance facilities there. There's an orange line maintenance facility, and a blue line maintenance facility, and a commuter rail maintenance facility, and a green line maintenance facility in Riverside Station near the McDonald's, and then there's a red line service facility, and then there's the PCC Ashmont-Mattapan line service facility. Dude, it is clown shoes. Clown shoes, man. It is clown shoes. I love Traven here. Nope. Try again. Try again. You can't foot this one on capitalism. The labor unions keep the trains non-standardized on purpose so people can keep their jobs. Not that that's a bad thing. Don't get confused. It ain't capitalism that's doing that, man. That's for sure. And hey, these people should keep their jobs. Why shouldn't they? It's not their fault they don't know how to standardize the thing. Like, you could standardize this, but they don't want to consolidate all the maintenance facilities in one maintenance facility and lay off a bunch of people. The union is protecting the worker in that regard. I get it. Like, it's not that it's a bad thing. Like, I understand. Yeah. Yeah, good times. So, we have a mass transit system. It's okay. It's pretty good. Like, you can use it. It's useful. It's expensive. And yeah, it's expensive. And it's kind of old at this point. Hey, but I was over in Concord earlier today. I had to go to the Cambridge PD to help out some new friends. Thinking about taking a boat ride up to Bar Harbor later on. Nice, man. There you go. If it was standardized, wouldn't they need a bigger maintenance facility to handle it all? Probably not. I mean, clearly if there was some kind of solution that would appease everyone, we would have done it by now. But yeah, every single form of transportation is redundant to another one. You can't mix them. But once again, the system isn't the worst. It's not the worst. It's not the worst system around. I mean, some cities in the U.S. for the European view, some cities have no mass transit. We're lucky that we have it. But yeah, it is what it is. And then there's also an Amtrak terminus in Boston. This is the Amtrak maintenance facilities here. Amtrak and the Purple Line can drive. That's regular U.S. rail. That's where the high-speed rail maintenance facility is too. Actually, this is pretty cool. The high-speed rail, the Acela maintenance facility on in the northern terminus is right here. See the high-speed rail? Only high-speed rail in the U.S. Goes from Boston to D.C. It's pretty cool. It is. That's pretty neat. I dig it. The high-speed rail is cool. We got buses and a light rail that goes nowhere. Yeah, like I said, our system isn't the worst. That's the problem. The prices are high because there's no standardized system. So you have to pay for every single redundant system. It's a big pain in the butt in that regard. But yeah, the Amtrak maintenance facility is cool. The MBTA maintenance facility is on the north side. So this is the purple line of the commuter rail. That's the MBTA maintenance facility. It's pretty cool. Yeah, we had a lot of trains, man. Trains are big in Boston. Like, trains that move people around. If you go to other cities like Detroit, just on a side note, Detroit is freight all day. It's freight to bring in a mass amount of raw materials to manufacture cars. Detroit actually has a pretty good train system. It's just, once again, all freaking freight. Like, if you look by Dearborn, by River Rouge, there's tons of stuff. And actually, this is where that's where the train station actually is. It's over here. Jonan, 3-month resub. Is there any reason why there's high-speed rail between those locations specifically? High-speed rail only works over medium distances. All right. If your population density gets too low, then you can't maintain high-speed rail. It's too expensive. So in places like Japan, where it's densely populated, or Europe, where it's densely populated for very long periods of time, high-speed rail makes tons of sense. And I'm not saying that it doesn't. Like, we should have more high-speed rail, but it's got to be very particularly placed. You have to place high-speed rail in places where there's a lot of people over a long distance. So from Boston to DC makes perfect sense. That's a good idea. If you're trying to make a high-speed rail line from like Chicago to Denver, that doesn't make much sense. That's a long way, and there's nothing but corn in between there. Or wheat, or pigs, or cattle. Cattle don't ride on high-speed rail. I mean, I don't know that for sure. So we studied this problem logistically in cities. When I play City Skylines, I see how much the high-speed rail can move, and I see how fast it goes. It really, really starts to lose its value correlative to population density. So if you have cities that are closer together, high-speed rail makes more sense. If you have cities that are further apart, it doesn't make sense. To be fair, trucking doesn't make sense either. Freight makes sense when you have cities that are further apart. A freight train instead of a truck. Trucks are localized, just like trains are, or passenger trains. At least that's what I've been able to figure out. That's just my analyzation. So I don't know. I could be wrong. High-speed rail cargo? Yeah, but cargo sometimes it's not perishable, and if it is, you get a refrigerator car, WW, so you can just go longer distances. Cows deserve high-speed trains. Bart over here uses a non-standard gauge originally to keep freight and other traffic off of the system. But now it just means all new trains cost 200% more, so the cities at the northeastern corner of the system got fed up, built an exchange station, and made E-BART, a standard gauge diesel commuter train. Huh, I see you suffer from the same kind of crap that we do. Nice. Hey, human, what's going on? The only long-term trucking that makes sense is if it's in short-term urgently. Yep. Freight trains are the best way to do that. And freight trains are the best way to move bulk cargo long distances over land. It's the most efficient by a long shot. Yeah, diesel electric locomotives. And if you electrify the tracks, even more. But then again, paying for that electric infrastructure over long distances doesn't make a lot of sense. Because there's that whole damn inverse square law. That's a pain in the butt. We have long distances to travel in the U.S. between cities when you get out west of the Mississippi. High speed DC to Miami? Yeah, that could work. Yeah, I mean, John, the population gets a little sparse once you get south of the Mason-Dixon line, but it could work. Sure. Yeah, 200 miles sounds about right, Kelly. Yeah, it's medium distances. High-speed rail is good for medium distances. So in Europe, it's brilliant. But the thing is, there are some parts of the United States that have similar or more population density compared to like the most densely packed parts of Europe. So like in Texas, for instance, high-speed rail between Dallas and Houston would be brilliant. That's a really good idea. That's medium distances, right? That's a good idea. Or in Florida, going from Jacksonville to Miami, not that anybody would ever use that. I mean, California wanted to do high-speed rail between NorCal and SoCal, so San Francisco and Los Angeles. The distance is right, but the problem is the terrain. Anybody that lives in California knows that there's a lot of hills. Tunnels are very expensive. Elon with the Boring Company is trying to fix that problem. So costs would spiral out of control because of the treacherous terrain. That's why they don't do it. Tampa, Orlando, Miami would make sense. I think they're working on that, James, to be honest with you. I think that they're building a rail line that does exactly that. It goes through the I-4 corridor and then hooks down and goes down the coast of Florida to Miami. High-speed rail between Daytona Beach, Orlando, and Tampa, that would make perfect sense. That would be excellent. And it would alleviate some traffic on I-4 because frick I-4. I hate that road. DC is south of the Mason-Dixon line. I figured stops in Richmond, Charlotte, Columbia. Yeah, John, like I said, it doesn't make sense once you get into the southern states. But the fact that, you could take the train from Boston to Miami, that could make up for it. But here's the thing. This is what I'm talking about. I could take a train from Boston to Miami. That's 1,000 miles, 1,100 miles, give or take. If you have a rail line that snakes through things, right, it's probably a little bit more than that. That'd take what? 15, 20 hours with a train? Maybe like 10 with a train that goes 200 miles an hour. Or you could take an airplane that goes 500 miles an hour and get there in 2.5. Doesn't make sense over long distances, man. That makes no sense. That's what I mean. When you get to the southern states, that's when it starts to not make a lot of sense. San Diego to Los Angeles, that would be great, Supercraft. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they do have the Surfliner. They have a train that basically does that. You can go from downtown San Diego to Union Station in downtown Los Angeles. You can be there in an hour. People utilize that line a lot. How long does it take to get to airport and from airport? It depends on the cities, Metco. If we're talking about going from Boston to Orlando, so I generally budget about 2 hours before my flight starts to board to get to the airport. So 2 hours to the airport, 2 hours on the plane, 2 hours off to get to your destination when you get there, right? So that's 6 hours total, right? High-speed rail, you can just get on it. You don't need to go through security. You don't need to do all that other stuff. You don't need to park your car and pay. Well, you do, but you can just walk right on the train, right? And then you could take it there. Even a train traveling at 200 miles an hour. Oh, well, let's do some basic math. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Because we said it's about 1,200 miles. But you have railroad stops. So it would take about 7 hours if you had a straight through trip. But you have stops, so add another couple hours, right? So let's add another hour cumulatively. If you have to stop in like Washington, D.C. or New York. Let's add another hour for New York. 8 hours total. The plane still makes more sense. See what I'm talking about? The further you go with trains, the more it doesn't make sense. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement. But that's why we only have high-speed rail in the Northeast Corridor, because that's where the population density makes sense. Something like the maglev. Maglevs are expensive to maintain, but then again, so are most trains. So that's my point. In Europe, feasible high-speed rail is about 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, see, Nemetko, if you were going from like Berlin to like Paris, take the high-speed rail. That makes sense. You'd be stupid to drive that unless you absolutely have to, and you'd be idiotic to take a plane. I'm sure people still do, but. That's for passengers. For cargo, it makes more sense, right? Well, for cargo, time doesn't matter. I mean, it does to an extent, but for cargo, that doesn't really make a difference. You don't have a correlation there. Like people, people don't want to spend 25 hours on a train, right? But the freaking freight car full of freaking grain doesn't give a crap. It's grain. Who cares? That's why the U.S.'s train network, our train network, is set up for freight because of the long distances, guys. I try to tell people this all the time. Canada's the same way. Canada's set up the same way. Canada's railroad lines are optimized for freight. So they're not necessarily fast. It's for bulk transport of goods. Do you think we would ever see Starship land in the Great Lakes? Nothing's impossible, Grapes. I mean, maybe in Lake Michigan to service Chicago. Sure, why not? Frickin' grain. Mass outweighs time with most cargo, pun intended. In Europe, every state has high-speed railways. Yeah, and it's great for you guys because everything is close together. Any more space? Plenty. But yeah, good dive in about trains there. That's cool. But yeah, our mass transit system in Boston sucks. It's not the worst. It's just expensive. But is it as expensive as parking? No. But people like to pay for the convenience. That's the thing. In my city, we have trains that come and go to Italy, Slovenia, and Austria. The surprising thing is that those different trains from different years kind of work on the same rail line and are compatible. Yep. What about taking some ideas from maglev and adding back in the rail wheels? Basically, a standard rail track plus an aluminum plate in the center of the track for a linear induction motor to react against. Should be good for higher speeds than typical cog railway or other steep grade rail tech, but still offer better hill performance than just driving steel wheels directly. Yeah, Supercraft, there's that. I guess, Synerd, I'm having trouble visualizing what you're saying, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's just you can't replace the convenience of the damn airplane. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm not going to go through this article here. I'll just read the headline. I know that's the lame thing to do, but we're kind of a little bit out of time. South Korea's Hanwha enlarges space focus with $300 million OneWeb investment. Ooh. Okay, it's not a long article. Let's see. Satellite broadband startup OneWeb has secured $300 million in strategic investment from Hanwha, the South Korean conglomerate with plans for its own mega constellation. Hanwha bought an 8.8% stake in OneWeb through its defense division Hanwha Systems, which acquired British antenna startup Phaser Solutions last year as part of its growing space ambitions. UK-headquartered OneWeb expects regulatory approvals to complete the Hanwha transaction in the first half of 2022, bringing its total investment since emerging from bankruptcy protection in November to $2.7 billion. Interesting. There's some talks that SpaceX is going to take over High Bay 2. Yeah, Forge, that's what Thomas was just telling me here.
Listen,
oh,
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
What is this? There's a link in here. What does it say? Okay. Yep. I'll give that one to you just because math jokes, okay? I'll give that one to you just because math jokes, okay? That was funny. Write that down. Write that down. So, I mean, Forge, we saw this RFI. Is there anything in this? Is there anything in this that, Geeson's here. Anything in here that hints at SpaceX? I mean, an RFI wouldn't really do that. How to handle Geeson from now on?
We must make sure that you do not appear here again.
Nice. Hey, Tape, what's going on, dude? So this is a request for information about NASA wanting to see if anybody wants to use a bay in the VAB, High Bay 2. Forge, talk to me. Is there? You said okay. All right. I have to call you out on it. You said there's rumors that SpaceX wants to use High Bay 2. What does that mean? Where did you hear that and how? There's several mentions of recovery from orbit as well, which is interesting. Where? Control F, it's a PNG. Bottom of page 1, top of page 2. NASA will only consider VAB High Bay 2 uses VAB High Bay 2 that involve the processing of launch and or landing vehicles built to operate in, place in, or return from Earth orbit or outer space. Hold on. NASA will only consider uses of High Bay 2 that involve the processing of launch or landing vehicles built to operate in, place in, or return from orbit or outer space, a payload, or human beings. The VAB is capable of accommodating multiple users that perform concurrent, discrete activities. NASA will not consider the uses of VAB High Bay 2 that preclude the shared use of the VAB. NASA will not provide office space incident to use of High Bay 2. I mean, that's very broad, guys. So, what if, like, what if Boeing wanted to put Starliner on something and launch it from High Bay 2? Like, okay, so, actually, that's not a way to say that. What could that be? How many rockets out there could NASA legitimately utilize High Bay 2? I think we can rule out Northrop Grumman because they had the contract for High Bay 2 and NASA put out a new RFI, so it's probably not Northrop Grumman. ULA already has their own launch facilities. Could be Starship. Could be. Could be Blue Origin. Well, Slick 36 is for New Glenn, but maybe it's New Armstrong. So Boeing doesn't really make sense, so I'll rule them out too. Could be Blue Origin, guys. Why couldn't it be? Yeah, Zonku, that's what I'm getting at. Let's narrow it down. Who would need a high bay that big? The VAB high bays are like 450 feet tall, right? And you have a rocket that you need heavy launch facilities for. So who's in the market for heavy launch vehicles? NASA is with SLS. Pretty sure that's already taken care of. Starship is with SpaceX with Starship, and Blue Origin with New Armstrong. Blue Origin wants something else. Roscosmos, it has to be domestic. Could be Relativity. Grip 2024 NASA RE suit. Snickers Dad, the reason why the investigator general audited that is because he smelled something fishy, and they've made changes to it. So 2024, as far as I'm concerned, is still on. Revenue is spelt revenue, not review. Why would I call my spaceflight podcast Space and Rocket Revenue? Ziga, what? Curious. Space and Rocket Revenue? What does that mean? Review. You spell, that's how, it's review in French. No, alright, never mind. Maybe ULA is secretly developing a heavy lift vehicle? Doesn't seem likely, yeah. Okay. It's an old joke, but it's okay. My last. What's up, Jay? Sorry, I don't speak baguette. All right. Is NASA subcontracting SLS stacking? No. Nah. You're not a student? I don't understand. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. I'm not sure if Blue Origin makes sense. Seems like it would be harder to get their rocket to the pad using the VAB rather than their factory. Yeah, it's possible. Keep in mind, Google is a big investor in Starlink. Yep. Yeah, it's true. EJ Spice and Racket revenue. Nice. Nice. That's good. I like that. My space and rocket revenue is down 5.72% today. Oh. Yeah. Hey, Rescues. What's going on? Interesting. That's interesting. All right. So, let's see. A couple more things with the space news, and then we got to go over into KSP. Already got that. Swishio, we'll talk about the ESA plan stuff, the agenda. Link me that up tomorrow. I got a couple more things with the Russian news. We'll cover that stuff tomorrow. Kind of ran out of time. New space. Oh, that's cool. All right, we'll do that. Sweet. All right, so let's switch over to the Russian news real quick. Check this out. So the next Russian EVA.
Go and throttle up.
Hi, boring. Thanks for the 30 months. The next Russian EVA, scheduled for September 2nd, will begin at 15:55 UTC and take 6.5 hours. On September 8th, Oleg Novitsky and Peter Dobrov will perform another spacewalk, which will last 5.5 hours. Cosmonauts will perform various tasks to fully integrate the Nauka science module to the rest of the space station. What up? Cool. Speaking of that, Oleg actually has a picture here, a view of the ISS that is a bit unusual and new. This is a picture from the Nauka, looking back at the ISS. Damn, that's cool. Look at that. Look at, yeah. What's up, Yuri? Man, that's sick. Dude, look at the cupola. Wow, what a view. That's awesome. There's the, right there, that's the airlock for Nauka. It's been up there for a little while. Sweet. Yeah, look at the Bigelow Expandable Activities module. And then there's the Astrobot, or Nanoracks, excuse me. Why do I always get that confused? There's the airlock right there. The CubeSat airlock. Pressurized multi-purpose module, Node 3, the Roosevelt module, Quest airlock, Columbus. You can't see Destiny and Node 2, and Dragon. Dragon's on the other side of the space station. It's down here looking up. And then there's Kibo. And then Soyuz. Beam looking like a smiley face. That's cool. How does this work, renting out the high bays? If NASA's not allowed to stream SLS stuff because the other side is secret stuff, but in the building you have top engineers from different companies and they're not allowed to look the other way? Yeah, Finarl, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's dumb too. It really shows the size of it. Yeah, it's big. She's biggin'. Yep. And then all this stuff that's on the outside of the cupola module are covers, so the windows don't get hit with micrometeorites. So when they're not looking outside of the space station, they close it. Yeah, Earth would be that way in this regard. He's actually upside down relative to the surface, but there's no upside down in space. That doesn't. Can you see the windows? Yeah, there's the windows right there. How long is its lifespan, Nauka? It's going to be up there for a little while, guys. Oh, man. Guys, Scary is sending me pictures of racing engines again. Help. Oh, man. Oh. Sock motor. Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice engine. From this view, what direction is the ISS going? That way. That's the front of the ISS. So if the ISS is pointing this way, this camera angle is upside down looking towards the front. So it'd be like this. Off topic, if this was on your way home from work. Let me see. That is a big boat. Cool. So the front of the space station is over here. The top of the space station is down here. This is upside down, looking out the windows from Nauka back at the rest of the station. It's cool. Great picture. So next bit of Russian news here. In another setback from the Russian space program, the truck carrying the Almaz space station module to its new home is broken down. So this is an old Russian space station module that a private collector, I think, bought, and it's in Isle of Man. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not every day that you see a space station module just on a truck. So this is a DOS module, guys. It's not anywhere finished. It's not anywhere near finished. It's pretty rough. I think the interior is still in there, but this is a module that shares lineage with Zvezda, the one that's actually up on the space station. That's a DOS module that's up there. Are they going to send it into space? It's funny, you need more. All right. Hang on. Let me hear.
Nauka.
Nauka.
Nauka. Banan.
Banan. Yeah, space station module is causing traffic. Yeah, that thing is pretty rough. Actually, here, hold on one second. Let me. Banan. Banan. Credit to Thomas Pesquet. That's cool. What is that? Re-entering. Hang on. I'm trying to figure out which Almaz that actually is. I'm looking at the wiki page right now. Han Banan. Three Almaz op stations were flown from 73 to 76 in the Salyut program 2, 3, and 5. 5 crewed Soyuz expedition were flown to Almaz. Besides the 3 flown space stations, 7 more space frames of the Almaz space stations had been built when the program was canceled. Almaz 205, 206, T, and T2. With Almaz T2 and Almaz 1 having successfully flown as repurposed uncrewed radar-carrying reconnaissance satellites, the partially outfitted hulls of Almaz 205 and 206 are today in the property of Excalibur Almaz, a company that plans to launch these crews as crewed space stations. What? Oh, it's piers in progress. Got it. That's cool. Is that what that is? Wait, they're gonna... The plan is to put that into space. Oh. Give me 1 second. So then, the plan is to put that into space, to finish outfitting it and put it into space? Oh dear. Now that's from ages ago. I don't think Excalibur is active anymore. It was submitted for commercial crew development. Oh. Hang on. Excalibur Almaz was a private spaceflight company which planned to provide a variety of deep space crewed exploration missions. Okay, alright. As a 2012, design and flight safety reviews were planned for 2015. According to a 2012 interview with Art Dula, chairman of Excalibur Almaz, the Excalibur Almaz capsule was supposedly at a very high level of technical readiness and could be flown within 2 to 3 years. The main issue of the first manned flight for Excalibur Almaz capsule was regulatory. According to Dula, as the VA capsule had already completed 9 unmanned test flights during the Almaz program, all of which were successful, the company had entered into an unfunded Space Agreement Act with NASA as part of Commercial Crew Development Round 2 activities in 2011, but was not selected to receive any funding. In March 2016, plans were announced to have the equipment converted into an educational exhibit owing to the lack of funds. They wanted to use TKS? Really? Huh. Well. And I would assume that that is one of the leftover Almaz modules right there. I can tell you right now, this thing's never going into space unless something drastic changes. It's never going into space. That's the spacecraft hull being exposed to the elements right now. That's probably not good for it. It's not stainless steel. It ain't Starship. That's for sure. It would have been cool to see TKS back. It's an amazing all-purpose design. It's a space station module that got where the truck broke down on the side of the road. So it's not every day you see a space station module just kind of sitting on the side of the road. What kind of truck is that, Euro guys? Yeah, look at how much trouble they had, Ivo, with getting Nauka back up. I highly doubt that Dimitri would buy that stupid thing back to launch it into space. What a waste of time. Just build a new module. And that's pretty much what they're doing. That's why they have the NEM modules now. Waste of time, dude. However, I will use that to segue into the next segment. Take a look at this. Speaking of buying back old artifacts, court in Kazakhstan denied the liquidation of Darun Musa's space company and stopped the return of the Buran into the hands of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Damn it. In February, the State Property and Privatization Committee already lost this process, but it appealed. The Judicial Court for Civil Cases of the Almaty City Court. Almaty is a city in Kazakhstan. ruled to refuse the Committee of State Property and Privatization of the Ministry of Finance of the Republic of Kazakhstan in its demands for the... I swear, nobody make a Borat joke, please. For the love of God. Only I am allowed to do that, yes, yes. And the return of the Buran spacecraft to state ownership. On February 12th this year, the Specialized Inter-District Economic Court of Almaty has already rejected the claim of the State Property and Privatization Committee. However, the committee demanded a reconsideration on that decision. Very nice. It looks like a NASA shuttle. It's the Russian space shuttle. The Russians wanted to get the thing back. They wanted to get the thing back for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe we'll learn here. At the request to liquidate RSC, Baikonur, JSC, it has been refused. In the obligation of RSC Baikonur to return property made as a contribution by RSC Infracos to state ownership, 14 blocks A of the Energia launch vehicle, a complex of structures, administrative building, sports complex, garage, 2 workshops, car wash, flyover fences, product 11F35, serial number 2K1. That's the orbiter, serial number 2K1. Second flight copy of the Buran ship and the model 11F35, serial number MT. That's the other space shuttle that's right into it. Refused the court ruling. Wait a minute. The guy owns the entire MIK building? Are you crapping me? That guy bought the entire Energia VAB. Are you kidding? How is that even possible? Yeah, administrative building, sports complex, garage, 2 workshops, car wash, flyover fences, product 11F35, serial number 2K1, a model of 11F35, serial number MT. How is that possible? Guy bought the entire thing. That's the building that those shuttles are inside. How did he buy it on government land? How is that even lawful? Basia. But Baikonur is Russian. It's Russian land. Like, you know the Jackie Chan meme where he's like, ugh, ugh, ugh. Just oh dear. I don't, whatever. In addition, the court refused to recover from RSC Baikonur JSC in favor of the state cost of 14 side A blocks of the Energia launch vehicle in the amount of 14.778. Wait, there's Zenit boosters lying around? Oh, no. It's leased territory, I get it, but it's dude, it's Russian soil. Because they lease it. Maybe he bought it before the lease went into effect? I don't freaking know. This guy owns 2 Burans and 14 side boosters? Frick you, dude. Are you kidding? Like, what are you gonna do with that? You clearly don't care. Just let it sit. Ugh, that's so annoying. So, here, I'll show you the building that I'm talking about. It's over here. Maybe he forgot the shuttles were in there? Right. So, this building, right there. That's the building that the shuttles are in. There's 2 of them in there with a bunch of other stuff. Where's the sports complex? Is there a sport complex here? Is that a shooting range? That looks like a shooting range. That also looks like a shooting. Oh, Savage Panda Man. Whew! I don't know. So Roscosmos wanted to see if they could get the orbiters back. They wanted to get the orbiters, which were built and assembled and manufactured in Russia and owned by Russia technically at the time, but it was because it was in Kazakhstan when the Soviet Union collapsed. Somehow someone thought it was not the case, I guess. Yeah, I know, Xanath. I've seen that video. Yeah, I don't like it when people go and wreck the orbiter like that. But actually, they were pretty damn respectful, which is nice. Let's see. However, the court invalidated the transactions of the general director of RSC Baikonur, Darun Musa, and Vladimir Shirin of the 41 shares of the company, and also declared... Wait a minute. The court invalidated the transactions of the general director of RSC Baikonur, Darun Musa, and Vladimir Shirin on the sale of 41 shares of the company, and also declared illegal the minutes of meetings of the board of directors of the company dated October 14, 2004 and May 20, 2006, regarding the decision to sell 20 shares of the company to Nikolai Kovalenko. In addition, the minutes of the meeting of the founders of the company dated May 25, 2004 regarding the adoption of a decision to reduce the size of the charter capital of the company was declared illegal. The decision came into force. That's exactly what happened, guys. There was a I've talked about this. I've talked about this before, but let's just, the easy and quick way to say it is that a lot of state property got pawned off after the Soviet Union collapsed. Yeah, a lot of state property. Yeah. It seems like the space program was no exception to that. That's good. It's interesting about that shareholder stuff, though, Kem. Well, whoever owns that is getting a visit from, I don't know, Jack, maybe. And the Baren shuttles are one of those things? I guess, Nighthound. Yeah, Zonku, right? Yeah. I just don't... See, okay, here's... The court ruled that they can't just reclaim the property, right? Like, they ruled... And that's fair, I get it. I'm not really too familiar with how Kazaki law works, but that would make sense over here. If you can... I mean, possession is 9/10 of the law over here. Like, I mean, people say that as a slang term. That's not technically true, but it's case by case, right? But if I were that court, I would want to know how did you procure this? How did you get this space shuttle? That's what I would want to know. How did you buy a space shuttle? I don't understand. How is this possible? How did you buy an entire launch complex in Baikonur? How does that even happen? Because honestly, if you went and traced the money, it would show that it was state property that somebody in the Kazaki government sold at a government auction or whatever. Actually, that's probably how he picked it up. People do that in the U.S. all the time. I mean, people buy fighter jets and stuff. Surplus. That'd require a court that wasn't made in the same fashion, yeah. How did you buy a space shuttle and where can I get one? Very, very nice. Denied. Yeah. Interesting, Kem. The State Property and Privatization Committee. Kim, I thought we were clown shoes over here. That's pretty clown shoes. That's pretty circus. It's pretty honk. You know what I mean? I mean, we do that too, Radioactive. Yeah, it's how the government can recoup some investment. But a frigging space shuttle? Like, what? What kind? Atlas E, Atlas D, Atlas F is on queue. Titan 1, Titan 2. I really want that Titan 1 missile complex. If I ever become a millionaire or a billionaire, and, you know, like, I want an evil lair, only except it's not going to be an evil lair. It's just going to be a lair. I'm just going to buy a Titan 1 missile silo, and I'm going to make a vault door at the entrance like Fallout 4 and name it Vault 154. Yeah, that's the end of the story. As far as I know, the Russian Federation leased only part of Baikonur, and in Kazakhstan moved some of the excess land to privatized community to repatriate past landowners from before Soviet times. Oh. An evil lair, Scott? Nope. Nope. Will Vault-Tec Freb be sitting outside? Oh, absolutely. Buck. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Isn't historical obsolescence technology useful to learn from, but not so much to convert? Yeah, I don't know, I guess. I mean, did we honestly hear why Roscosmos, why Dmitry wanted the Buran back in the first place? You ever play Fallout Shelter? Yes. I mean, I would assume they wanted it back because they wanted to make it a museum or something, but after the USSR collapsed, all previously state-owned companies and all were state-owned had to be privatized due to the transition to capital. Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah, it's Perestroika and Glasnost. Yeah, I've read about that stuff before, dude, yeah. Interesting. It's super interesting, dude. I mean, it's kind of like, don't get me wrong, I'm Mr. America as much as the next guy. I mean, look at my friggin' hat, for Christ's sake. But it's, dude, what happened after kind of sucks. Like, that. Whew, okay. Are you actually connected to the European Space Agency? No. No. Ziga, EJSA is my username, not ESA. You're missing stuff. To put it in the new space center next to the Krinichev factory in Moscow. Oh, Kem, that would be so damn cool. But I mean, I guess this doesn't mean that they couldn't do it. They could buy it. You could buy it back. It's just the question is it in the dang budget? And then the second part of that question, if they do buy it back, how the heck are they going to get it to Moscow? Actually, I know the answer to that question. He doesn't want to sell it? Fly it. Nice. He doesn't want to sell it, huh? Every man has his price. There's Ukrainian and Crimea. Yeah, not a good thing. Hello, I'm from a news organization called NASA Spaceflight. I'm hoping to book someone from the ESA for an interview. Kappa, what's up, DK? How you doing, man? Fly it on a 747? I don't think the shuttle carriers and Buran have the same integration point. Antonov 225, it needs to fly again. My professor was one of the top officers of the ESA, if you want a connection. Oh, really, Andy? That's cool, man. New to the stream, got me question. How is your stream connected to the ESA? It's not. For the second time. Yes, it's not. I'm not connected to the ESA at all. This is just a photoshopped picture of Mission Control. Mission Control in Houston. This is the ISS Mission Control Center. The logos of the other space programs up there are not. They're just there for fun. Would you sell a space shuttle if you had one? Hell no. But then again, I wouldn't leave it to rot in a freaking hangar either. Is there a problem with flying? Get the Atlanta out, Nemetko. Get the VMT. We'll make it work. Not connected yet. Yeah, right. Wario is real. Why the nickname, though? Once again, you are missing a letter. It's not ESA, it's EJ_SA. You're missing the J. The J. There's another letter there, dude. There's another letter, and I like spaceflight, and we talk about space stuff here on the stream. Like you're missing a letter. See up there? It says EJ, mission control. No? The J. What were the other 14 rockets that the guy had? They sound like, so 14 Block A boosters, so they're the side boosters for Buran Energia. JJ underscore JJ. Yep. The J is passed to the left. J is for joint. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. No. No, it's not. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not playing these games. All right. Let's see. So that kind of sucks with Buran, but Buran, but it is what it is. I mean, I think, it's very rare that I agree completely with the Twitter crowd then. Find them a proper home then, you coward. What gnome? How much do we know survived? What? Oh, God, I can't watch that. Why would you link that? Oh, jeez. That's not... Who the hell linked that? Why would you link that? Lewis, what the heck, man? This is gore. It's against terms of service. Oh, I can't. Oh, dude, that pisses me off so much. No, predominant, I'm not. What is it? I don't want to show it. It severely upsets me. But hey, chat, you've been warned. You've been warned. You've been warned. That's just not right. I hate it. I can't watch this. I can't watch this. I can't watch this. I can't do it. That pisses me off so much, dude. I'm literally getting... My blood pressure is going through the roof. That pisses me off so much. I'm alright. I'm alright. Woosa! Woosa! Oh, I've seen... Yeah, no, I've seen... It's not okay. It's not okay. Why were they destroying it? So, Swishio, the Buran program had one successful flight into space, the 1K1 mission in November of 1988. They launched Buran into space. It went up, and it automatically ascended all the way up into space, did 2 orbits, came back down, and it landed by itself on the runway at Baikonur, on their landing facility over there. They were getting ready for a second test flight, and the Soviet Union collapsed, and then the Buran program was suspended in 1991 and canceled in 1993, and that orbiter that had been into space sat out in a hangar in Baikonur for the next 10 years. In 2002, the hangar that it was in, because of lack of maintenance, because they canceled the program, the roof collapsed, destroying the orbiter and the stack and the Energia stack that it was on. They're picking up the pieces there. That's why it was just the back of the shuttle. I don't know anything about that hypersonic, but yeah. They should have sold it like they did with all the Soviet military equipment. Well, they sold Burya, the second one, and that's what started this conversation in the beginning. Yeah, they were trying to fix the roof. So what happened was the reason why the roof collapsed is because it's not necessarily because of deferred maintenance, but it kind of is. They had deferred the maintenance a couple of years because money got a little tight after 1991, obviously, and it would have been fine. But in 2002, in Baikonur, it's very dry usually, except during the spring, and then it rains, and it pisses down rain, and it pisses down rain, and it doesn't stop. They got a lot of rain that year, and the roof absorbed too much water, and they were trying to fix it when it collapsed. Yeah, it's freaking depressing, dude. I can't look at that, man. It sucks so hard. All right. Hey, cool hat. Thanks, man. Not really news, but cool NASA exoplanet travel posters. Oh, neat. Can I relink you the article? Let me get that here. That's coming from Darren Musa. That's the guy that owns the orbiter that tweeted that. This guy. He's the guy that owns the space shuttle. See, I mean, the guy says he doesn't want to sell it, right? He doesn't want to sell it, but it's just sitting there. It's just sitting there rotting away. Like, that's why I like what Shuttle C said. Find it a proper home then, you coward. That's awesome. What did this guy say? Nice, Mr. Cat. What's Dimitri say? Oh. I mean, why would you... What a punk. Come on, Darren. Just sell him the damn shuttle back. Jesus. You could keep the other one. Ugh. Casey, and yeah, the guy has 14 Zenit boosters. What are you gonna do with it? Launch it into space? Pfft. That was in response to Darren saying, Dear Dimitri, Buran 102 and test article OKMT 007 do not belong to an individual, but are property of RKK Baikonur. We spent a lot of resources to keep our space enterprises and these rockets intact. I'm sure you have. Why do I keep seeing videos posted on YouTube of people going in and taking parts off of it then, Darwin? What the hell, dude? What are your thoughts on Jeff Bezos going into space? More money for spaceflight is not a bad thing. It's pretty cool. It takes a lot of balls putting yourself on a rocket and flying into space from your company. That's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of resources, Kem. What a punk. That's infuriating, dude. That's infuriating. Well, you gotta understand a Ukrainian's position selling something to the Crimea Steelers. He's from Kazakhstan, KC. Kazakhstan is not the Ukraine. Those are two different countries. They're not the same thing, man. Have you watched the Veritasium video? What, this one? Guys, I'll be honest. I don't have permission from Veritasium to watch the whole thing. So I'm not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to skip around. You want to watch the whole video, go to their YouTube channel and watch it.
It's largest 3D metal printer. It was built by Relativity Space, a startup that aims to print an entire rocket, including fuel tanks and rocket engines, in just 60 days.
I'm like looking inside a 3D printed rocket that is actually going to go to space. This giant hunk of metal. It's unbelievable.
This video is sponsored by Omaze, offering you the chance to win a trip to
The welds, you can film it, but don't look directly at it.
You get sunburned fast, so it's like you're suiting up to go in a volcano.
All right, we're gonna go in to the 3D printer and see how it works.
All right, so yep, just hold this up, don't look at it. We are in the printer.
I can see it over there.
If we walk around here, we can get up close.
Is it welding? It's welding. It's just feeding
So
bead.
that's the wire melting and the print head moving around. So that's the plasma discharge, and it's hard to tell, but it's doing things at every couple milliseconds. It's actually changing the electric waveform, which is how it's controlling the deposition so well.
Oh,
Do you
that's
know the
so
temperature of
cool.
it? Like, is it just above melt temp?
It's just
or?
above melting for aluminum.
Yeah, it's just welded
probably a few
bead.
100 degrees above.
Oh,
The
that's
melting point
so
of aluminum
cool.
is 660 degrees Celsius, so the whole body of the rocket is effectively melted together one tiny bit at a time.
Hey,
All the raw metal for the whole rocket
it's
that's
just-
printed is this. It's we kind of joke it's like Charlotte's Web, like a spider silk, but this is an aluminum alloy that's on a wire spool. We actually print about 10 inches a second. So this wire is really going super fast, and then the combination of lasers and plasma arc discharge are working to melt both of them together at the same time.
So where does the wire come out?
So it's right there,
Uh-huh.
and then the electric arc discharge happens right at the tip of the wire too.
And then they have, so they're shielding the weld with gas. That's what these little slats are for. At least I think. If I'm thinking about this right, let's hear what he has to say. I bet you anything SpaceX will set up 3D printers in microgravity. It'd be pretty cool.
This is a
Yeah,
camera?
that's a camera.
But why would you want to 3D print a rocket? Is it just because we can?
It's funny to me that you had this experience with 3D printing where you're like, oh, 3D printing is clearly the future. Whereas I feel like a lot of people's experience with 3D printers,
Apparently
mine has
that's
been,
tearing our
like
stuff.
incredibly frustrating.
Cool.
I feel like 3D printing is that thing that seems like it should be great, and yet whenever I try it, I don't get a result that I'm happy with.
Yeah, I know. I can tell you, we had plenty of experiences the first couple of years where we ended up with a pile of metal and it didn't work.
But there are actually good reasons to 3D print a rocket. A rocket has 4 major systems: payload, guidance, structural, and propulsion. The bulk of the rocket is made up of the propulsion system, including the propellant tanks and the rocket engines. Cryogenic fuel and oxidizer are pumped through an injector into the combustion chamber where they react, releasing an enormous amount of heat. This causes the exhaust gases to expand, exiting the rocket nozzle at high velocity.
That's Tim Ellis, right? That's the CEO, if I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Yeah, okay, cool.
So rockets are huge, complex engineering projects, which up to this point have largely been manufactured using traditional techniques. That means before you can build the rocket, you first have to build the tools to build the rocket. For example, to build NASA's next huge rocket, the Space Launch System, or SLS, they first needed to construct the Vertical Assembly Center, or VAC. This is a 170-foot tall tool for welding together the domes, rings, and barrel sections of the rocket's fuel tanks.
Yep, it's a stir weld.
They built that like an aerospace thing, and they've had to spin up all these custom tooling designs and validate that those work before it actually starts building the rocket.
I know that voice.
And they've finally got one being assembled on the pad after 11 years of development.
In contrast, Relativity Space,
It's a bit of a loaded statement there, Scott. No, I'm just kidding. Bit of a...
Old engineering
hell,
style
man?
versus Silicon Valley style of build something, figure out what's wrong with it, and build another thing that fixes those, right? The difference is I've always done that with software. These guys are doing it with aerospace hardware.
So this is the
Internet rocket scientist. I like that. That's good. No, I'm not in this one. I thought you switched videos. No. No, let's I don't want to go through the whole video, guys, like, cuz if you want to watch this, go to Veritasium and watch it. I just want to, yeah, the engine part. That's what I want to see. Let's see what Tim has to say about
Test
this.
it, and then redesign rapidly and print again.
So this is a version of the engine that's about 3 years old at this point, but what's amazing is when you actually look at the engine design today, it looks entirely different than this. So each version we build, we can iterate and make better. So that's the other, you know, when we say software-driven manufacturing, that's really what it is. Since you don't have fixed tooling, all the part geometries are just controlled via the CAD model, and then the printers just print, you know, direct from file, essentially.
That's really cool.
It means you can actually change the design extremely fast. So building a whole engine only takes us about a month. So then a month later, you can do a better version, and a month later, a better version than that.
I'm not sure if Tim
So this
is,
particular one will actually be, I believe, one of the first flight engines that's actually launching to...
Now, okay, fellas, not all of this is 3D printed. Some of it is billet, but with some of it is CNC'd billet aluminum, but that doesn't that's not to undermine the effort here. Like, see this bracket right there? See the milling marks? That's billet. But with billet, the thing is that you can do the same thing that he was talking about. Only so you can basically start with a block, and it's subtractive manufacturing. You have the same net result as you do with additive manufacturing. You don't have tooling that's going to make certain parts, right? So some of these, the thing isn't like totally 3D printed. The rest of the parts that aren't 3D printed, like that bracket right there, or this fitting, that's all milled. And with milling, with billet milling aluminum, you have the same freedom that you do from 3D printing. Basically, they like, and rockets like SLS have billet parts all over them, all over the place. Heck, the outer tank walls are billet to machine the grid structure in, right? But all the parts that required a standardized set of tooling, they, as Tim said, they swapped it out with that 3D printing thing. So you basically have the freedom of making the entire rocket. Yeah, you can change it. You can change the rocket on a whim, so you can iterate faster and come up with better designs and implement them a lot quicker. That's really, really frigging smart. Yeah, that's really smart. Yeah, that's really, really smart. Yeah, that's really, really smart.
Orbit. Rocket.
So this tubing, not 3D printed, right?
No.
Not today.
Okay.
And the future versions, we're actually, you know, integrating that into the printed housings, and we're going to have a way that that's all printed too.
Perhaps the biggest impact of the 3D printing approach could be to totally transform what a rocket looks like. With 3D printing, engineers can build parts that would be impractical or impossible with traditional techniques. Smooth, curvy, bio-inspired designs are just as easy to print as ordinary structures.
This is actually part of our next rocket, Terran R, so it's even larger.
This is like the base of a tank?
Yeah. So it's gonna go out. It's almost done printing. It's gonna go out about to here. So it's 16-foot diameter, but it's almost like a shell.
I was gonna say, like, this reminds me of suddenly we're in The Little Mermaid or something.
Yeah. It's just for stiffness, though.
It's not that you plan to make it bio-inspired. It's that that structure is actually the optimal structure.
Yeah. We're actually.
That's crazy, Jonas. That's what Firefly is doing with their 3D printed grid fins. Firefly wants to do that with just parts, like the plumbing, all the plumbing, the pipes and everything. Holy crap, that's cool. Man, that's so legit. That's such a good... Dude, that is such a good idea. Wow. I'm friggin' impressed. That's really, 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 really cool. Did I miss KSP? Nope. I just want to see more of this printing. Yeah, once again, guys, I'm skipping around in the video on purpose. If you guys want to watch the whole video, I'll link it up in the chat, okay? I linked it up in the chat. Go to Veritasium's channel. Like, I'm not going to watch the whole thing. That's not... Yo, go support him. He's the one that went out there and did this. Like, consider this like a preview. I'm not doing that. Can we 3D print a shuttle? Well, I don't see why you couldn't here, Rescue.
The 3D file, and then the printer just prints them assembled.
The plan for relativity space,
Yep.
is it low Earth orbit or is it going further than that?
So for Terran 1, it's mostly low Earth orbit, the first rocket. Terran R can actually send payload to the moon, to Mars. I mean, it's pretty huge. I founded the company because I really thought that there needed to be dozens to hundreds of companies making Mars happen. We're focused on taking this 3D printing tech and what we call the factory of the future, and one day shrinking it down to something we'll actually launch to Mars and build an industrial base. So that's the long-term vision of the company, is build the industrial base on Mars. In many ways, this factory is just a prototype. It's still far smaller than a traditional factory. It's far lighter, and I think it's inevitable someone has to build this company.
I don't know that in 10, 20 years that you will be 3D printing rockets all the time, because if you are flying lots of rockets, it becomes cheaper to have a dedicated machine for it. I do think that as a company, they are well placed, because even if Terran fails to capitalize on the market, even if nobody wants to use it as a launch vehicle, they are clearly now the world experts on 3D printing rocket hardware, because they've done everything, right? They've tried to apply 3D printing to places where a lot of people dismissed it. So I think they're sort of secure as a company. Whether we will see rockets being 3D printed all the time, that's a good question.
There's been a lot of talk recently.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can check out the rest of that Veritasium video. I'll link it again in chat. That's ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous, dude. Downsize is an additional 5 to 10% additional structure mass due to surface roughness, which is a lot for rockets. Yeah, I think the benefits outweigh the subtract word. You know what I'm trying to say. Are you gonna watch it full later? That's my homework, Sea Kraken. I'm usually up for long hours after the stream, reading up and catching up on all this stuff. I give myself homework. Tim says the hardware names are based on StarCraft. That guy's cool, man. That guy's really cool. That's awesome. So, drawbacks. Yeah, that's the word. They, I mean, Tim clearly has some capital behind him. Relativity just bought McDonnell Douglas's airplane factory in Long Beach in California. They bought it. It was McDonnell Douglas's. They were building C-17s there. And then in 1997, McDonnell Douglas merged with Boeing. And it became a Boeing factory, and they built C-17s there until they finished the production run a couple of years ago. And then it's been vacant for a while since. MD-11s were built there for a long time as well. And DC-10s, DC-9s, they were all built in Long Beach. They're all California planes. And Relativity bought the entire factory. So, get them in mission control. Yeah. They said it was only 10% heavier than a regular rocket. Yeah, but you guys, you got to understand that they're thinking about rockets in a completely different sense. They're not thinking about rockets like... They're not thinking about rockets like expendable. You can make it a little bit heavier if it's reusable. That's not a big deal. If you're able to rapidly reuse it, heck, if it's even expendable, who cares? You can just print another one out. Whatever. You will theoretically achieve the same payload mass to orbit over time. That doesn't matter. Yeah, 10%. That's what I mean about the benefits outweighing the detractions. Yeah, that's right, Forge. Yep. That's cool, man. That's cool. That's really neat stuff. But the current model has a few limitations, though. A new and enhanced EJ could, for example, stream for 24/7. What are you talking about? I missed that conversation, and I'm just going to pretend I didn't read that. All right. Let's see. What else do we got here? All right. We got to get going to KSP. Let's do this. Yeah, Sea Kraken. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. So, two more things. One more thing. Let's just go with this one. I don't feel like sharing that last bit of information. It's subjective anyway. So NASA tweeted this out for SLS. Perfect fit. Artemis 1 launch preparations continue at NASA Kennedy, where teams have been loading CubeSats into the Orion stage adapter. The shoebox-sized payloads will conduct a variety of science experiments and technology demonstrations. Yep, there's the OSA. Once this thing is loaded out with all the CubeSats, they'll take it over to the VAB. They'll stack it on top of SLS's ICPS, the third stage, and then they'll put Orion on top of that. And then we got a full stack. It sounds like they had some things going on with modal testing here and integration of all the different payloads. Do you see these little things? Those are the CubeSats. Sounds like there was a little weird thing going on with them, and it kind of delayed stacking just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, SLS is still on track to have a full stack by the end of this month, which is pretty good. That's pretty cool. I know, Lulz. It's pretty rad. Boeing had an update. 8 of 13 valves are open, but it sounds like it's going to take some time. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. That's going to do it for Space News. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to play some KSP now, and we have to build a way to get crew inside of the small SSTO. I need to build a crew access vehicle. So I'm going to switch us over to KSP here, and we need to figure out a way to put people and optimize the way to get Kerbals inside of the SSTO to launch it up into space. Because we have some other commercial contracts that we picked up yesterday at the end of the KSP stream with the small SSTO that we could